Hello, today is March 18th, 2016. The verse of the day, according to BibleGateway.com, is, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Galatians 5:22-23. Okay, we're going to read Luke chapter 5, verses 12 through 16, and this is when Jesus heals the man with leprosy. While Jesus was in one of the towns of a man came along who was covered with leprosy. When he saw Jesus, he fell with his face to the ground and begged him, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him. Then Jesus ordered him, "Don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priests and offer sacrifices that Moses commanded for your cleansing as testimony to them." Yet the news about him spread all the more, so the crowds of the people came to hear him and to be healed of their sickness. But Jesus often withdrew into lonely places and played. One day Jesus was teaching, and Pharisees and teachers of the law were sitting there. They had come from the village of Galilee and from Judea and Jerusalem. And the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Some men came carrying a paralyzed man on a mat and tried to take him into the house to lay him before Jesus. When they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on the mat through the tiles into the middle of the crowd right in front of Jesus. When Jesus saw their faith, he said, "Friend, your sins are forgiven." The Pharisees and the teachers of the law began thinking to themselves, "Who is this fellow who speaks blasphemy? Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Jesus knew that they were thinking and asked what they were thinking and asked, "Where are you thinking these things in your heart? Why are you thinking these things in your heart? Get up and walk." Which is easier to say, "Your sins are forgiven," or to say, "Get up and walk"? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth that forgives sins. So he said to the paralyzed man, "I tell you, get up and take your mat and go home." Immediately he stood up in front of them, took what he had been lying on, and went home praising God. Everyone was amazed and gave praise to God. They were filled with awe and said, "We have seen remarkable things today." So tomorrow we'll read verses 27 through verses 39. So just some interesting facts about Luke. Just 1 second. Okay, so Luke and the Acts of the Apostles make up the 2-volume mark of the same pen called Luke Acts. The cornerstone of Luke Acts theology is salvation history, the author's understanding that God's purpose is seen in the way he has acted and will continue to act in history. It divides the history of first-century Christianity into 3 stages, with the gospel making up for the 2 of these. The arrival among men of Jesus and Messiah, from his birth to the beginning of his earthly mission in the meeting of John the Baptist, followed by the earthly ministry, passion, death, and resurrection. Sorry, my phone is almost dying. Passion, death, and resurrection, concluding the gospel story per se. The gospel sources are the Gospel of Mark, the narrative of Christ's earthly life, the same collection called the Q source for his teachings, and the collection of material called the L for Luke's source, which is found only in the Gospel. Luke Acts does not name its author according to church tradition. This was Luke Evangelist, the companion of Paul. But while this view is still occasionally put forward, the scholarly consensus emphasizes that many contradictions between Acts and the authentic Pauline letters. The most probable date for this composition is around 80 to 100 AD, and there is evidence that it will be still revised well into the 2nd century. Okay. Alright, that was just a little bit of Luke Acts. All right, I hope that was helpful for you, and please be blessed. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.